Scene/chapter fin, end. The final evaluation. Happy with my Barbies at the barbecue. Throw another raw prawn. They don't like I made the change. There is a space station in orbit with the Earth. It looks far more advanced and planned top-down than the bitty junked-together bottom-up pieced-together design of the International Space Station. Auntie Ant leaves her Earth space station in a small rocket with one of the henchman women by her side and travels at what appears as some kind of warp speed to the moon. After passing by the moon, she arrives down to the moon's surface via a moon wire tethered to a powered moon orbiting relay station sent from the surface at the stationary position at the L2 Lagrange point at 61,000 kilometers away from the dark side. This connection is similar to a geostationary orbit on Earth, except being synchronous with the Earth and the Moon in a 27.3-day orbit around the Earth, with the station requiring to be permanently powered from the Moon as the location is quasi-stable due to Earth tidal effects and solar fluxes. A concept she achieved, as there is no atmosphere to burn up the graphene connecting cable on the Moon as it would do on Earth. Graphene providing the necessary properties to achieve the strong connection to the relay station and guidance and power for shuttles to the surface. She has a smaller second station cloaked by interspace stealth technology temporarily available at the L1 point for timing for inter-Earth transfers. A surface stationary synchronous orbit for the Moon would have to be located at 95,000 kilometers, the Earth is 35,786 kilometers as it rotates faster. The large distance for the Moon is well beyond the Moon's sphere of influence, 66,000 kilometers, or its gravitational hill sphere, 61,000 kilometers. Stable orbits only exist within half to one-third of the hill sphere radius, so the highest stable orbit around the Moon is somewhere in the 20,000 to 30,000 kilometers range. A direct analogy of an relatively stable Earth synchronous orbit is not possible for the Moon, so the orbiter requires to be in semi-powered flight to hold its position. This is the necessity for the relay orbiter to be supplied with power from the surface along the graphene cable. She descends from the Moon orbiter to her dark side moon mansion, with a kitsch neon DMM sign on it. She has built an estate, similar to her Earth layout without the tropical trees but light-collecting space trees dotted about instead. She receives applause from her female community as she appears before them and bows in respect to them. Looking back at the Earth, she says to a single ragged henchman, "We must get your sister back." The henchman woman replies, "Knowing she left us, I don't know if I will miss her." Auntie Ant holds her assistant and says, "Never mind, let's not dwell on it, let's clean up, eat and party in our new empire." They strut off with the space ants opening doors for them, happy their boss is now with them. Greater than. Meanwhile, back on Earth, Bob is having a beach barbecue with Siri and Pooh with a chi halo around them, finally secure in the effects of the results of him changing his like to gopher and finding what he was looking for, even if he was pushed into it. The girls say, "What we thought was fantasy from you has had a result of coming true. We are happy. Now, it's nice to know we have had children, and maybe with the technology now being globally available we can now have yours." Bob gazes at them with a hopeful smile and says, "Did the monks say it would end with an enlightenment like this?" With an even bigger smile. Greater than. In the distance from Bob, Dick is being served at a ladyboy beach bar with ladyboys looking at him holding hands with his new girlfriend who is appearing to be slutty drunk. He looks at the ladyboys, then at her, and says anyone watching this would think it was a bloody fairy tale being put to the test. Let's hope it's been worth it. She looks at him with a look of amused, "Oh dear. It looks like she's a clone or is one of Auntie Ant's henchmen who has changed her mind." She says slowly, "It seems like this process of spreading new knowledge is going to be good for us all." She says it in a very controlled way, which makes Dick look at her strangely as if he has heard her speak before in the island control room. Two ladyboys in the bar, one with an arm in a sling and both with military-style jets, tattoos and diamante action medals on their collars, look at each other, put their hands on their hips, and mouth the words "new fairies" and smile, as they pour and throw back large whiskey shots and start singing Neil Young's "Old Man Look at My Life" song. Their dog howls more lamb tones which make them stop and stare at it and laugh and say, "Are we expendable? No, we are not." One of their friends leans away from the bar and says cheekily to two foreign girl bald Xerox tomboys, "Are you two monks?" They look at each other and ignore him. As he says this, he looks across the bar tables and sees the two scientists are sitting in the background in gaudy shirts with cocktails, arguing and pointing at each other's tablets. While he looks astounded that they are there, Bob's ex-boss and two army suits arrive and sit at a table on the other side of the bar. Dick also flinches, seeing that the authoritarian military thinking, the controlling of everyone, has not ended. Dick knows Bob and his girlfriends have control of serious abilities that the military want, and they don't seem to able to get away from the corporate graspers, but he thinks by them using their chi energy they will avoid them if they are challenged. Dick rubs the stubble on his chin and says, "I must stare at my goatee more often." Turns to his girlfriend and says, "Do you shave?" She stands up, takes his drink and tips it over his head, and they both laugh as she pours him another one. After all, it's just a monsoon summer dream.